I want to call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order. I would ask that you would join me in prayer, and after that, we'll have the pledge of the flag. Heavenly Father, we do come before you today to thank you for this day that you've given us, and Lord, we thank you for the many blessings in life. Lord, we just ask that you be with us during this time in this meeting. Lord, that all things will be done decent and in order, and Lord, the things that we do and decide will be pleasing and according to your will and sight. Lord, most of all, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, and that we're able to have salvation through him. We just ask you to protect the people that are working hard to make sure that all of us are safe here in this community, this state, and this country. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, at this point, I will begin with opening for a public hearing, which has to do with the proposed use of county road aid and local government economic assistance funds pursuant to KRS 42.455 and KRS 174.100. I officially open this public hearing as advertised, and for the projection of county road aid funds for the motor fuels tax fiscal year 23-24, which is $890,288.37 and $200,475 from the LGEA funds from tax levied on minerals that's mined in our county, mostly crushed stone. So at this point, during the public hearing, we'll see if there are any public comment or question. Hearing none, I will close this public hearing and we'll move on to other business. Any public comment? All right. We'll get right on with it. If you picked up one of these agenda papers, you know we got a full day ahead of us. Gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of our May 2nd regular court meeting, I need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved.
I got a motion by Scott, second by Marty. Any question, discussion, corrections? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have with us Mr. Casey Pettigo and Justin Young from Kentucky Transportation Cabinet District 3. It looks like Mr. Pettigo is the one that wants to come and break the bad news to us. This is about the fiscal year 22-23 rural secondary road program.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
This year for the rural secondary program, Simpson County was allotted $884,538. As you see on the handout here, the carryover from last year was not a carryover. $288,847 was taken out of this year's funds due to asphalt prices and inflation. Our roads that we selected last year went over by that much, so that came out of this year's funds, and I'll get to a little bit more of that here in a minute. That leaves $595,000. Item number one here is $371,500. That's 42% of the initial allotment. That goes for our maintenance crews to take care of things in Simpson County on rural secondary routes, such as drainage issues, tree trimming, pothole patching, all things associated with highway maintenance. Item number two, county judge expenses is $3,875. Item number three, $43,408. That's a whole lot less than that usually is. I talked to Mason about this earlier. That's where that $288,000 came out. We didn't have much left. Asphalt prices are high. $43,000 isn't going to go very far. But the good news about that is this $43,000 will carry over to next year's funds. So I'm just throwing a number out there. Say we get $300,000 for Simpson County next year, that'll turn into $343,000. So next year's funds should go a little bit farther. Your flex funds are the next item on here. It's $176,908. That money's for you all to pave your county roads, do whatever you need to do with it. Hopefully you can find some projects that'll spread far enough on, but that's what you've got for this year.
Casey, tell them what you told me down in the office about the one job y'all figured out how much it costs per mile to do that one job.
Yeah, I was telling Mason earlier, typically in the past when we were doing estimates on these roads to get paved and fix a few drainage problems and things like that, in years past, we could just go ahead and figure, $85,000 to $100,000 a mile was what it would take to fix that. I estimated one in Monroe County here recently, and I used last year's bid prices whenever I estimated that to go ahead and beef it up, hoping that this won't happen again, that you won't be in the hole. Go ahead and get it taken care of on the front end. That road estimated at $171,000 a mile, if it tells you how far our money's going right now. Hopefully that changes in the future, but right now that's where we're at.
That's just to like do a 2-lane road.
Yeah.
So if you were doing like a 4-lane road.
Yeah, that's a rural secondary route. Yeah.
So like
18 to 20 feet wide. I mean, it's
like if to widen the 1008 to 4 lanes, you're probably looking at $300,000 a mile or something.
yeah, I would say.
I'm just with
Yeah,
bridges
that's a
and all.
good guess. Yeah.
But I think the good thing, as we discussed, the good thing is like, let's say our number is 300,000 next year and we're at 343 and the project that gets selected really only runs 320. That other 23,000 then carries over into the following year too.
That's exactly right. And typically that's what we have. We usually have a carryover instead of a deduction. But, we start estimating these roads a little higher when we turn them in now. Hopefully that's what happens. So, I'll also talk about a few more upcoming projects that you all have in the county and projects that are going on right now. We have Kentucky 100 from 1008 down to Rains Drive. There's a preventive maintenance resurfacing project that's going to occur there. Completion date on that one is September 30th, so they'll probably be getting started on that one here before long. Also have Kentucky 100 going toward Allen County there from the joint close to 622. There's a pavement joint there to the bridge at the Allen County line. Completion date on that one's November 15th. Also have a resurfacing project coming up on 1008. That is from 31W to very close to 3498, and we're adding a turn lane right there at the 100-1008 intersection. And that one's already been let out to bid. The bid came back too high, so it will be rebid, and I'm pretty confident that'll probably go through. Hopefully the next time. The completion date on that one will be November 15th, as long as it goes through the bid process and gets awarded.
And the turn lane's actually going to be on 1008, a right-hand turn lane
Yes.
on 1008.
Yeah, and you all probably saw the work here a while back. We had the power company came and relocated that pole and stuck it back a little farther so we could, get room for a ditch line and added a lane right there. It's pretty much, everybody's already using that anyway.
Yeah.
The space is there, but we needed space to add a ditch line and all that good stuff there. Also, I don't know how often you all go to the Way Station Welcome Center. Living here, you probably don't visit it that often, but those parking lots and ramps and stuff going into those, they're in horrible shape. A lot of potholes. We have a concrete repair contract for that's let out to bid right now. I-65, the bridge there, southbound at exit 6. There's a lot of potholes that's come in that center lane. We've got a master agreement contract with that right now for them to repair that center lane. It's going to be shut down to 2 lanes. They're gonna start that on a Sunday night. As of right now, June 4th is when they're gonna start that. The repairs they're gonna start on a Sunday night to try to get done before the weekend. So that should take 3 or 4 days, and hopefully they'll be done with that pretty soon once they start it. And these are your RS projects from last year that are under construction right now. Kentucky 103 from mile point 0 there at Kentucky 100 to near the intersection with Kentucky 1170. That project's going on right now. Completion date's June 30th on that one. Also, Kentucky 664 from the Sulphur Creek Bridge to 383. That project's going on right now. Completion date of June 30th. And lastly, the FDR project on Cedar Street here. A lot of you all probably attended the meeting last night. I missed out on that. Justin was there. But that's set to begin real soon. It's probably going to be an inconvenience for a little bit while it's going on, but I think the outcome will outweigh the inconvenience. They're supposed to start locating some of the gas lines and stuff like that on May 30th, and we'll proceed from there. Completion date on that is July 31st, and that's going to be from the intersection of 1008 to 31W.
Casey, I got a couple of quick. Did you mention the project at 1008 and 31W?
No, I did not. Do you have much information on that one, Justin?
Well, no.
No.
The plan is there's widening on the west side of 31W at 1008 there. I know they were working with the Dodge dealership to acquire.
Yeah, this is where we were talking. This is the project you was.
What-
Yeah, it's still in development. I don't know the letting date, but I told the master there probably the next year or two, is what I'm thinking.
And they're going to try to take care of that curb, or they are going to take care of that curb that he's brought up a few times in the fiscal court meetings where the semi-trucks,
Yeah.
come
I knew
in
if I
there.
complained enough, they would find me.
So then one other question, and I think the right-hand turn lane will be much appreciated on 1008 at 100. But since they put the traffic light at 73 and 100, is there any talk of that, of a right-hand turn lane? It'll be, let's see, that would be to the north side of 100, where you would turn right coming west on 100 into town, there by the dollar store. Is there any talk of a right-hand turn lane there?
I myself have not heard of any talk. Not saying that there's not, it hasn't made its way to me yet. Have you heard anything?
Would you do me a favor and bring that conversation up with the folks?
Yes, we'll talk to Joe about it. Maybe Joe has some info.
I've
that we
mentioned
don't
it to Joe,
have.
so.
Okay. I can sure do that.
Because it would be really handy now, because the light is all well and good,
Yeah.
but still, and it may need that there needs to be a right-hand turn lane on both sides of 73, because the light doesn't stay green as long on 73 as it does 100. And really now you're sitting there, if you're behind a couple cars and you're wanting to make a right-hand turn.
You can't do it.
You're sitting there sometimes for a long period of time and no traffic coming on 100.
I see exactly what you're saying.
And
We
then
can
people
bring it up to Joe.
And especially, the reason it might be more needed there than it would be on the other side of 100 is because that's just a little short road and traffic can start to back up. In fact, I finally did see it the other day where traffic was backed up all the way into Gold City Road, and there was people coming east on 585 waiting to get turned onto it.
And people were doing, I've already seen people doing that, like they were doing out by the other.
Oh, yeah.
There's room.
I mean, there's
They'll-
space there, so they're already getting over there. I'm already getting over there.
Oh, I see exactly what you're saying. And who knows, it could be something already being talked about, and,
Yeah.
and it just hasn't made its way. But we can check
Okay.
into it for sure.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, y'all have any more questions?
Appreciate everything.
Yes.
Sulphur Spring Road's already done.
It's
It's completed.
okay.
It's
That's
already- I noticed
664,
that
right?
64 is completed. I come down it today. It is.
I did. Well, I mean, yes, it's the blacktop's completed. I don't know if they've done the shoulder
They've
rock.
done
It is okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you
guys.
all.
Thank you.
So we have a motion to acknowledge receipt of that.
All right.
So we need a motion and a second to acknowledge receiving the secondary road program presentation. Myron made the motion.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any question, discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is to approve the appointments of reapportionment commissioners and county clerk and set the pay for these. And so the county clerk has recommended that we appoint, along with the county clerk, Austin Johnson, Gary Dunning, Bobby Chip Phillips, and James Henry Snyder. And of course, the KRS just simply states that they shall receive out of the county treasury a reasonable compensation for their services fixed by the fiscal court. And the clerk has suggested that we set that at $50 per meeting, and he thinks that 2 meetings will be adequate.
So moved.
All right, so we have a motion by Marty to accept these appointments and set the salary or the rate at $50 per meeting.
Second.
Second by Jeffrey. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have with us, excuse me, Mr. Ed Holmes and Mr. Ryan Holmes of EHI Consultants, also City Manager Kenton Powell and Tammy Carey with the city. Mr. Holmes is going to kind of bring us up to date on the Franklin Forward Comprehensive Plan. And I understand that a lot of this information will then be used to help update our planning and zoning comp plan, which is a joint function of city and county government. And so Mr. Holmes and I were talking and thought it would be great if the county could get a little more involved in this. I think I don't know. I don't know if Kenton and Tammy thinks it will be great, but we're glad to have you with us today.
Raise just a little.
You need to raise that quite a bit. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Thank you, Judge and Fiscal Court. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Ed Holmes. I'm with consulting firm EHI Consultants. It's in Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky. I have with me Ryan Holmes. You notice the resemblance. We're fortunate to be here. It was about maybe a year and a half ago, we were asked by the city to talk about updating their planning documents and reviewing their processes of how they manage growth here in the community. And so one of the key components of that was the comprehensive plan. The plan hadn't been updated for about 17 years or somewhere around there. So, and generally KRS requires you to review or update your plan about every 5 years. Mm-hmm. So we noticed that was probably the significant thing that was lacking. So we've started a process that went into a very comprehensive community-wide survey that went out through everyone within the county, the city, and in the area. And Ryan will talk about what we found on that survey. But one of the important things we did was recognize some of the key components of how do you plan for Simpson County and addressing the needs for growth. Because of the rapid growth that you're seeing and experiencing here in your community, we need to adequately plan for that. So what we've done is started a process of updating the comprehensive plan. We're holding community-wide meetings, taking the information we've heard from the survey, and putting that into a plan. We're meeting with some of the state officials to talk about what you're hearing today. What are your roadway improvements? How do you manage and handle traffic? If you're going to grow, do you have the adequate capacity of roads, water, sewer, and what's the appropriate land uses? Is it industrial? Is it residential? You want to confine most of your density to the urban area of the city itself, because that's where you have the adequate infrastructure to handle that. But you also want to recognize the role that the county plays in terms of growth and development. How do you preserve your rural character, and how do you protect the agriculture base that forms the community? So we're gathering all this information. We're into maybe the really the second or third month of the comprehensive plan process. The other activities we were doing a year ago was more survey gathering data. So as a result of that, we're gathering a lot of information, talking to different officials, individuals, and it's a very community-wide, county-wide approach to what we're doing. Land use, housing, infrastructure, water, sewer, roads, all those things will go into a comprehensive plan that will hopefully reflect how the community wants to grow. We're not telling you how to grow or where you should grow. What we're saying is we're gathering information from everyone, taking that information, and we will take that and put it into a plan that says the citizens have decided this is how we want to grow, this is where we want to grow in the area. So it's a community, county-wide initiative, and in about another 6 months or so, we hope to have a document that we think you'll all be proud of that represents the views. And one of those key components will be the goals and objectives. What are the goals that you want to see your community grow? How do you want to grow? And then the objectives and then the strategies will lead that. And generally, the county and the city, or the elected bodies, would adopt the goals and objectives that guide the growth of the plan. We're drafting those now, and we'll have a draft ready for everyone to look at. And then from there, we'll go into the document itself. So hopefully it won't be 17 years to get your plan up to date, but we'll have, I think, a plan that will direct and guide growth. And then it's just a matter of updating or reviewing it every 5 years to keep it up to date. Ryan, do you want to talk about some of the information you found from the survey that was done?
Yes, I think last summer 2022, we conducted a survey, and I think Tammy did a great job of getting the word out. So we were able to get about 1,200 resident or respondents to the survey. So that was city and county respondents. So I think we had about 50 to 60-ish folks from the county itself respond to the survey. So the big things we heard: protect the agricultural lands. Again, it's no secret that Franklin's one of the faster growing cities in Kentucky, but that was probably the biggest thing we heard, was protecting those agricultural lands. Controlling growth: how do we grow smartly? Where are we allocating our industrial lands? Where are we allocating our residential lands? And then maintaining that strong sense of place was the biggest thing we've heard from Franklin itself. People come here because it's that small town feel. Everyone knows their neighbor, and we want to make sure that we protect that, and that's what we heard loud and clear. And so, again, the saying's been, we don't want to become Nashville or Franklin, Tennessee. And so that's what we hope to achieve with the comp plan itself. And then I think we didn't mention, too, that we do have an advisory committee of about 18 to 20 folks that are representatives that are comprised of city officials and county representatives as well. But with that, I know we've done a lot of background research, existing conditions analysis. There are 6 public meeting opportunities, and so we've sort of branded those with 3 community conversations, and so that's really meant to be a collaborative process. And then we'll have 3 additional public meetings as well, and so that's where we're sort of presenting information back to the public.
So it's been a pretty collaborative process, and that's where I've gotten a chance to meet a lot of you. And they've been engaging meetings that's had a lot of input. And there's an advisory committee that's made up of residents from around the county and the city that also provide information to us. Then we take that information and take it out to another public hearing and a community conversation. So the plan is decided and developed based on what we hear from the community. So it's really your plan, and it's just we're putting the planning terminology and the legal aspects into place, but by no means are we telling you how or where you should grow, but what we're hearing when you tell us that information in those community conversations, in the surveys, that guides us. So it's been an interesting, lively debate. We've had as many as 60 individuals from the public that shows up at some of the meetings, 60, 40, so they've been well attended, and probably some of the better attended public meetings we've had in comprehensive plans that we've done. And I've been doing this for 30 years or longer, and I've done plans all over Kentucky, and then we've done some in other parts of the country. So it's something that we do, something that we enjoy, and we're very appreciative of having this opportunity that the city has afforded us. So with that, Kenton, if there's anything else
God, no, if
Do yeah, do any of you gentlemen have a question about?
You're doing a fantastic job. I've been to several of the town meetings, and you guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Glad you all are getting into it. I was planning and zoning attorney 17 years ago when we had last updated, so you're right, it's long overdue.
Well, I get, Mr. Holmes, one of the things that I would ask, what, you and I talked about the participation with County Go. What can we do that would be beneficial? Or what should we do that can be beneficial?
Well, ironically, I think what you're doing, you're coming to the meetings, and believe me, we hear what you're saying. We'll gather all the information. I think if you continue to participate, we will bring to you the goals and objectives and also the land use plan based on what we're hearing from the public. So the role that the county can play into this is to continue to participate, continue to tell us what we need to know about, like, you know, what's some of the issues in the county? Is it roads, water, sewer, development, or is it, you know, what size, minimum lot size should you have in your agricultural zones? Those types of things we need to hear, and I would encourage the county and to participate and come out to the meetings. The advisory committee is made up of citizens, and they provide us the information, and then we'll bring it back to the elected officials for review and adoption. So I think the role that the county can play is to continue to participate, and if you have any questions, we're available to answer those.
Have you, and this is kind of way out, but I'm just thinking, but have you ever had a situation where you've put one together, the community input, and it's all there, and then you bring it back, and the elected officials that have to adopt this look through it, and maybe there's some lines in there or some things in there that they say, you know what, I know this may be what a lot of people said, but this is not going to work. How do you handle that? Have you ever had that situation? Yeah. And if so, how do you handle it?
Oh, we have it quite often. But what we try and do is, I think through a collaborative approach, we try and reach the middle ground of what that may be. You know, is it what size, minimum lot size would you like to see in the county? It could be, is it 1 acre or is it 30 acres? You know, somewhere in the middle, we think, okay, let's try and work, see what we think would work. But yeah, that happens when you don't agree or you can't, then we try and work it out. And if we don't work it out, then it's up to you as a community to say, you know, we would like to see this changed or amended or adopted. But we tend to try and reach some consensus of how and where you should grow.
So how many, and this may be a question for you or for Kenton or Tam, how many more public meetings are scheduled? Two more public meetings, and then there'll be
one community conversation.
Excuse me,
two more public meetings and one community conversation.
So there's three.
Is that right?
Yeah, we'll have another.
The next one's June 1st.
June 1st is the next meeting.
Community conversation.
Community conversation.
Yeah, so we'll have another community conversation June the 1st. When what we call community conversation, when the community comes out and we'll have a topic or something that they can participate in. Any of you been there? We've had maps and.
Well, the last meeting with the maps, I mean, this is just my opinion only, but in my opinion is maybe the most important, because that will be how we determine.
That's right.
Where do you want, I mean, for a lack of a better way to say it, where do you want what?
Yeah, that's right. We're growth worker.
Yeah.
And so what we've taken that information from the last meeting, we've distilled that, and on June 1st, we're going to say, this is what we've heard. Tell us if we've gotten it somewhat correct. And when you've got a public, you saw at the table, one person says, yeah, I want this, another person says, yeah, I don't want that. So we're saying, there's ways to do that, whether it's with buffering, landscaping, or protecting land uses, separating land uses. So.
And that's the thing you run into. It's just like when you go to the grocery store and you go down the ice cream aisle and there's 40 different flavors of ice cream, because everyone doesn't like strawberry ice cream. Some of them want whatever, So yeah, there may be one person at this table that says, here's what we need to do, and there could be someone at the table that says, no, that doesn't make sense. This is what we should do.
That's right. So then we
I don't
try to
envy your
balance
task of trying to iron all that out.
it. Yeah, but we
And
tend
then,
to get
and then
there.
our task is this the best fit for this community when
Right.
we vote to put this in place?
Yes.
That's the tough thing.
Because ultimately, it will be a guide for your planning commission to make decisions, and they really need that. And it's not a perfect document. That's why you have an opportunity to review it every 5 years and say we need to tweak some things. And it also gets, if someone has a zone change, there are ways to say either it's in conformance with the comprehensive plan or it's not, then you vary from that.
Yeah, and the counselor, you or the counselor, either one, may be able to elaborate more on the 5-year thing, but we keep saying that 5-year target. That doesn't mean that planning and zoning regulations or the comp plan can't change in less than 5 years.
That's correct.
If you see that, hey, we're doing something and 2 years down the road, this isn't really working the way we expected or anticipated, we need to revisit with a change. It's not like we have to wait 5 years.
5 years is a ceiling, not a floor.
And then there are provisions from the land use, if there's something that was unanticipated or a major economic event occurs that changes that, then you can, there's got to be reasons for it. There's got to be some findings of facts why you want to vary from it, but you can't do that.
Okay. Gentlemen, y'all, any other questions?
The only comment I'm gonna make, we was sitting here talking about the land use, and I know there's some, people talk about wanting to preserve the agricultural land, and I farm, but if I decided to sell a piece of property and I had a choice between selling it to another farmer or developer, if I was only looking at it from the money standpoint, the developer is who I'm going to sell it to because they'll pay more money for it. So, and then I would have a tough time telling a person, no, you can't sell your land say if I've worked all my life and my kids don't want to carry on the farming, then, and I have an opportunity to sell some land at a high price, I don't think anybody should have the right to tell me I can't do that. And I would have a tough time doing that too. So, it's going to be, I know people want to preserve the agricultural land, and I want to preserve it as much as possible too. But if a person has worked his whole life and that's his retirement fund, then, I would have a tough time sitting on fiscal court saying, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, I don't think the plan tells anyone that they can't sell their land. I mean, if you have a willing buyer and a willing seller, I think you can do that. Now, what comes in is how you develop it. If someone buys your land, then, there's got to be a plan on how they develop it.
Right.
But the plan never tells anyone that you can't sell your land.
But telling them how they could develop it.
Yeah.
That
could impact.
Could impact on who they could sell it to.
Right.
And,
I'm good. I've been to some of the meetings and very well conducted and very informative, so.
yeah, I think you guys
Yeah.
do a great job with it.
And where was this June 1st meeting? What,
We've actually sort of relocated it to the CLC building of the Methodist Church.
So it'll be at the Methodist Church again?
Right across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a land use discussion. Take the map that was at the last one, we've shrunk it down considerably.
And I agree with you. I've been to several of the meetings, and the community has really been involved. I mean, it's really something when you walk in there and it's a packed house with so many people.
Yeah.
It's so great seeing so many people really care.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to city manager and Tammy and getting the word out. And, there's been billboards and participation, and so it's been really good. So, like I said, it's some of the most active communities we've had an opportunity to work in.
I want to bring up that Ed mentioned was there's the states kind of reached out to from the urban development or roads. They've already reached out because they've known that they're developing it, wanting to know our plan to help. So here again, so it's not like we're saying, oh, yeah, we're crowded. Well, they've already reached out to the group to share our information. And we got an email yesterday about, meeting on the urban development. So here again, I think through billboards and whatever. I think it's good that they've heard that we're doing it. Now we can share information how we want to go. So it's slow, but it's at least it's got to work out.
Yeah, it's a good process, and we're very appreciative of the opportunity to work here in Simpson County and Franklin. It's been good for us.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
guys coming to update us and fill us in and.
Anytime, feel free to contact us.
All right, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, gentlemen, second reading and passage of fiscal year 22-23 budget ordinance number 220.250. It's amendment number 6, amending in additional $111,636 in revenues and expenditures. We need a motion and a second to approve second reading and passage of this ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion by Marty, and I heard Myron on the second first. So with ordinance, we'll do a roll call.
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes.
Jeffrey Burr,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. All right, gentlemen, if y'all recall, in our last meeting, we had a vote on the SRO interlocal agreement, and apparently to enter that interlocal agreement has to be done so as done by ordinance. So this would be to approve first reading of ordinance number 140.04, authorizing the entering into the school resource officer interlocal agreement. I need a motion and a second to approve this ordinance first reading.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Scott. Any question, discussion? Pam will do a roll call on this ordinance.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Jeffrey Burr,
No.
Myron Thurman,
No.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. All right, next, gentlemen, here I want to say before we get into the next one, Nicole deserves a break, a vacation, a bonus, a trip to Hawaii. I mean, listen.
Buying?
Huh?
Buying?
Listen, the state has really thrown kink after kink at this. If y'all recall in our last meeting, on the Thursday morning prior to the meeting, we got information that the state retirement board had lowered the retirement rate. So she scrambled Thursday morning to get all of this together with those numbers to show us what that meant in the budget. And then on Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, they sent out another email saying there was typo and that they had met and discussed, but things weren't finalized, and it appears as though we should use the old numbers, the original numbers. So she had to scramble back around to put in the retirement rates at the original numbers, and on top of all the other things, it's just a headache and a frustration. But anyway, she was able to get that knocked out yesterday, got the budget put together with the original retirement rate numbers that are out. I guess there is still a possibility, because according to the very confusing email that they have sent out, there is a possibility that the retirement board may yet lower the rate before the fiscal year begins July 1. I guess at which point, if they do that, we'll just have to make an amendment to the budget to amend in it'll actually be to our benefit if they lower it, but.
Yeah, we'll just do budget transfers or just pull it out.
Yeah, so who knows? But at any rate, the budget document that's on your portal is in the form that goes to DOT, and everything in that budget is exactly as discussed in our last budget meeting, with the exception of the retirement rate had to revert back to the original. Still puts us on the positive side, but not nearly as much as we had thought based on what they thought the retirement rate might get lowered to. So with all that said, we need a motion and a second to approve first reading of first reading of fiscal year 23-24 budget ordinance number 220.251.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Marty. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
I need a roll call vote.
Oh, that's right, it's roll call on an ordinance, I'm sorry. I'm ready to move on.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Jeffrey Burr,
No.
Myron Thurman,
No, no.
Mason Barnes.
Yes, and I want to say a few things. I've worked on a lot of budgets. This is my 13th local government budget and my 5th one as county judge. I can tell you the first one as county judge was, all you're really hoping to do is not mess it up, because you're only here for a few months and you're working on a budget. And the reality is, no matter how much you think you know, you don't know. And so we've done pretty good. As you move through these budgets, you learn that there's things that need to be done. I think we're at a place here, and I hope that this court will agree with what I'm going to say right here. There are some policy changes that I think will help us personnel-wise as far as budgeting for salaries and employee pay and all the issues that we talked about with employee pay as classification of employees and pay rate structure. So I think there's a lot of things policy-wise like that we need to work on, and I hope this court has a willingness to let's make some policy changes that make sense, that'll help us make the budget process a whole lot easier, hopefully in the year coming forward. And I'll take the blame for some of that. I should have pushed a little harder for some of these policy changes, but.
And there, the public has to understand, when we vote on the budget, we have to vote on the whole budget, not just bits and pieces. So
Yeah,
the ones that vote no or yes, you have to do one, and if it's something in the budget that you don't like, one piece, you can't vote on the whole.
You
thing.
can, because there's some stuff in here I didn't really
Yeah, you
like.
can. There's a few things that there's a few things that I think need to be tweaked in here on the personnel side that I don't necessarily agree with, but it's workable.
It's workable.
Yeah, we're good. All right. We had a 3-2, did we not, Pam?
Yes.
All right, so at least we get to send the budget to DLG for review. I know some of you are probably hoping for a government shutdown, and on July 1 you could take a vacation, but it's been an unpaid one, so any rate, let's move on. All right, next is, if you had a chance to review the CAECO Orbis online salt auction information, we need a motion and a second to approve participation in this. And I understand there is no obligation to purchase, it's just this will authorize us to participate and buy if we choose to do so.
And I don't think there was any information.
No, I didn't have nothing.
No, they give us no information other than an email that said, do you plan to participate?
We just need a motion to authorize to participate in the salt auction.
In the auction.
So moved.
Yeah, so we got a motion by Marty to participate in the salt auction, and second by Jeffrey. Any other question or discussion? No, I promise you guys, if there is information, if we get like actual documents or information, it's going on the portal. So if there's not anything on the portal with it, it's just because we didn't get anything.
Yeah.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. All right, then you have on your portal, if y'all recall, we talked about the Open Meetings Act thing. So Marty had presented a resolution to approve, and this will be a motion and a second to approve resolution number 2023-05-16 to establish regular meeting days, times, and locations for the equipment committee.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Scott. Any question, discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, so next, if y'all recall, we talked about compiling a list of county vehicles to be sold. So we finally have that list together. We need a motion and a second to authorize the sale of these vehicles that are on this list. And I guess my suggestion would be if the sheriff doesn't have other law enforcement agencies interested, that whatever vehicles that doesn't sell in that manner, that we would put those others out to sealed bid.
We talked about this morning in a committee meeting. That's what we came up in that committee, but also the Public Works or Maintenance Department vehicle and the Fire Department vehicle, the sheriff has offered to let them be taken to the impound lot, and they can be, when we do bid them out, people can view them regular business hours at the sheriff's department. They can go and look at the vehicles, because one on that list has been totaled and it can't be moved, so it has to be picked up at the impound lot. So it would make it easier than having one at the road department and one at the fire department. They can look at all of them down there.
Okay. My suggestion would be that we would require all sealed bids to be in by 11 a.m. on Friday, June the 16th. That way we could accept or reject those bids on our June 20th meeting. That gives a couple of weeks for the public to view them.
We've asked for them on that. I mean, you never did turn them in, though. You still got two?
Those two that I told you that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got that. We're just authorizing them to sell.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying you had two you needed to put on the list.
No.
Oh, okay.
Those two.
No, we're just saying we're authorizing them to be sold, is all we're saying here today.
So-
And I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Okay, so we got a motion to authorize the sale of these vehicles and to advertise the vehicles that do not sell to other law enforcement agencies for sealed bid to be received in the courthouse by 11 a.m. on Friday, June 16th.
Second.
Got a second by Jeffrey. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, we talked about this briefly at the budget meeting and the discussion. The thought was that if we were inclined to do this, we would just fund this out of the current fiscal year rather than putting it into the budget. Is the request from the PVA to cover a third of the cost of the Eagle View technology services, which that service currently is $38,600. A third of that is $12,867. The upside to this would be for emergency situations where what we currently have in our mapping is all like a complete aerial overview. And Bob, if you've got some things you want to add, you're welcome to make your way up this way. But this Eagle View gives us, I think, 5 different angles of views, and it gives us kind of an angled side view, so you're able to determine windows and openings in buildings and so on and so forth.
I'm coming up more to answer questions than anything. I had Adam put on the portal a document that's got some visuals. I will say that the visuals that you're seeing there doesn't do justice to what the actual program looks like. These are just snapshots and whatnot, but our current aerial photo is probably 5 years old, something like that. We're we're under the thumb of whoever provides that to the state, the aerial photographs that go into our mapping. And on days like today, they just take those pictures whenever. So days like today that are cloudy, if you look at our current aerial photograph, most of the park is completely obscured. A lot of places across the entire county are completely obscured. And in those aerial photos, you're looking straight down. You can't see, like the judge talked about, the different angles and whatnot. The pictures I put in there was taken, I took those yesterday, and I've got access to the Eagle View stuff from Warren County. And what I was wanting to kind of let you see is, from my perspective in emergency management and disaster recovery, is they fly this thing once a year, so the photo is updated every year. They fly it on days when there's no clouds. You can literally I don't know if if you see it on those pictures or not, but you can literally see where the path of the tornado was. that
And,
went
and
through
they
Bowling Green.
automatically, without our request, if there's a severe weather event that causes damage, they automatically come back and fly the area so that we have the updated, real-time view of the damage and destruction versus what it was previous.
If it's an EF4 or larger tornado, then they don't charge to do that. If it's EF3 or less, they'll still provide that. They still fly it, but they'll provide that information to us at a reduced cost. If there's a presidential declaration, we get that money back through the FEMA process. So my comments today is in support of this, just because of what I do with disaster recovery and emergency management and planning and all that stuff. There's multiple other things it can be used for. And if the fiscal court in the city choose to grant her request and help pay for this, then Public Works, I think the fire department could probably use it, law enforcement. There's a lot of different things this could be used for, and it doesn't cost anything more to add people to it. So the more people we get involved, the more cost effective it is, basically. But probably 10 years ago when Joe Perry was here, we approached this, and it was $40-some thousand at that point, and we didn't even bring it to anybody's attention because we knew that was way too much, especially at that time. But since PVA is already using it, it's a really good program to enhance our mapping and planning capabilities.
And the reason I asked for a third of the cost is, and I don't know that whether they will or they won't, I have no idea about that, but they've asked that the city cover a third of the cost so they would have access and use of it also.
So the PVA is using this now? I guess I missed that part when we was talking about it. I thought it was just for emergency management. And
No, the PVA uses it now to help do assessments and
right.
look at changes, like look at a property, like what did a subdivision have a year ago, now what does it have this year?
There's a lot of tools that it would take all day to try to describe everything it can do for us, but it won't replace the Esri platform that we're using now, but you marry them up together and it greatly enhances our capabilities of mapping and that kind of stuff. If there's no questions, I'll go sit back down.
Yeah, and I mean, we're just at a place, if you guys or feel like it's beneficial and someone is a motion, we'll do it, or we can pass and move on.
Well,
I think it could be beneficial, especially if we have storms and things of that nature, so I'd make a motion.
Right. So we got a motion by Myron that the county cover 1/3 of the cost of this Eagle View technology service.
what is that amount?
$12,866.66.
Okay.
It's 38,600 is the total cost.
Right.
So it's 1/3 of the 38,600.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't see it anymore. That's right.
Yeah.
Did you get a second?
Myron made a motion. I
I'll
don't have,
second.
so I got a second by Marty. So motion by Myron, second by Marty. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, the next item is something that I'm sure that we will probably need our IT guy. This is a request to approve an agreement with Carasoft Technology for enhanced VPN, virtual private network. The cost on this is $1,856.56 for a year. If we choose to renew it, the only way we would renew it would be to pay the bill again annually, but they're 5% annual increase is what they project. But as I understand it, and Adam can clarify this if there's questions, if we have individuals working from home, which I know that the county treasurer and the finance officer, Michelle, both access from home and do some work from home. This VPN protects, Adam, I'll never say it right. It is a secure way for them to connect remotely to our network here without someone being able to gain access to our information. Is that close to right?
It's close.
Because I will be the first to admit, if you're watching this on live now or you watch this later, I will be the first to admit that I am not technological savvy.
All I know is turn it off and turn it back on again. Sometimes that works.
I took a picture with this camera up here a while ago, and I didn't even know what I mean, it just hit a button on it, and it went choo-choo, and just took a picture. So I got a nice picture of the front of my desk on my iPad right now. That's how tech savvy I am. So here again, I mean, this is a recommendation to make sure that our network stays secure as people are logging on remotely.
I won't say from a legal aspect, this is a good way to keep yourself from getting exposed, and protecting your information is really important.
And to boot, not only that, but to boot, as y'all know, we're working on the cybersecurity amendment to our admin code, because there were some questions, especially from law enforcement standpoint. But I think, Sheriff, all of that's kind of worked out, is it not? Everybody's we're going to review it, look at it again, but probably come our next meeting in June, we're going to have to try to put together some things on the admin code to implement this cybersecurity policy, because it's one of those situations where it's such a big deal that CAECO may not insure us. Well, one, I don't think they will insure us if we don't have it implemented into our admin code. And I would say having this VPN set up to help protect would go a long way too in helping have that insurance coverage.
Will we have to change anything with the VPN after we do the cybersecurity?
You're looking the wrong way. You're looking the wrong way for that answer.
CAECO gave us a list of 10 things that we have to do. A lot of them are built into the policy. One of them is multi-factor authentication. This VPN allows us to have that. So it allows us to have what CAECO says. It's not what CAECO says, it's actually what CISA says, which is the Federal Critical Infrastructure Security Agency. It's what they say. So this is one of those 10 things that they say is multi-factor on anything you can access remotely.
And I think Jeffrey's question was, does this really change the way we access or do anything?
Not for you guys, for your portal. Technically, there's probably some changes we will need to make for you guys getting in, but it's just we just got to put your phone number in. Every 90 days you have to put a code in when you open the portal. It won't really affect you guys too much.
So whenever we do the cybersecurity change, we won't have to redo the VPN, won't have to.
You guys don't use the VPN because everything you guys do is in the cloud.
Okay.
Whatever that means.
Don't ask me to explain.
It's way up there in the sky.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we do this, because if that's what he recommends.
I mean, it's a recommendation, and I think it's going to be something that's probably going to be required to help keep our cybersecurity insurance through CAECO. So Marty's made a motion to
whatever.
enter into this agreement with Carasoft Technology, and I would say with that, authorize the judge to sign any papers that may be necessary. The Eagle View, we wouldn't need my signature because the PVA is doing it. We're just to help reimburse her. She's the one handling all of that part of that. But with this one, authorize the county judge to sign any necessary documents. I need a second. Second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? All in favor? Aye. I'm aye. Motion carried. I am definitely an analog guy in a digital world.
While we're still on that, we had an industrial board meeting, was it last week?
Yeah.
And before the meeting, Danny he wanted to get an email, and he's like, we have to be real careful on that. So has Adam ever worked with been over to talk to them at the industrial board about their security they were asking about it.
No, but we can. We could have him help them get things set up like they need to.
Okay.
I've worked with, I'm helping Amy with something that she's wanting to make a minor change. So I've helped her out with some small tasks.
Well, I was talking about Judy and
Judy and
Denny
Denny
over at the
attended, yeah.
industrial board.
I don't mind, if Mason's okay with it, I don't mind.
Yeah, well, it's a function of city and county government. I'm good with, I mean, we don't want them hacked either.
Right.
But yeah, I'm definitely, I may be a pencil and paper guy in a digital world. I don't even know if I'm analog.
I'm good with 19th century technology.
Yeah. All right, moving on, gentlemen. If you had an opportunity to review the budget transfers, we need a motion and a second to approve those.
You can tell it's getting towards the end of the year.
Yeah, kind of clean up for year-end stuff.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Marty, second by Jeffrey. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is to approve the cash transfer of $5,573.02 from the federal grant fund to the general fund.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron, and who was the second over here?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. Any question or discussion? As y'all know, gentlemen, we get different money through HIDA and COPS and all of this that goes to a federal grant fund, but to expend it, we've got to get it to the general fund. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then next is a motion and a second to approve the cash transfer of $253,854 from the general fund to the jail fund. Now, this looks enormous, but there's a couple of things here that are worth noting. One, we have a Class D check that will be coming that will be almost as big as this amount we're requesting, but we've not got notification yet of when it hits, correct, Nicole?
I haven't checked my email this morning, but no.
And then we have 2 payrolls between now and our next meeting. So how much of this we'll need, we don't know. We'll only transfer what's actually needed, and in the meantime, we'll get that Class D money to hit, which means the next go-around shouldn't be near this kind of transfer. So
moved.
got a motion by Jeffrey,
Second.
second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is bills and claims. If you had an opportunity to review those, we just need a motion and a second to approve the bills and claims as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second. I heard Myron first, Scott. I mean Marty.
That's fine.
Myron or Marty, one's gonna slap me after this is over. One of y'all need to have a name and something other than, we got 3 M's up here. That's kind of bad. I heard Marty first, so we had a motion and a second. All in favor, aye? Thurman and Chandler. Yes, I'm sorry, Pam. I'm confusing our fiscal court clerk. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then finally, if you reviewed our April 30th, 2023 financial statement, we need a motion and a second to approve that financial statement subject to audit and authorize the county treasurer and the county judge to sign it.
So moved.
Motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question, discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Pass that down to the end and let it come back this way. Gentlemen, what I'm handing to you moving into reports is a couple of thank you notes. One from the family of former County Judge Executive Chico Harper for our expression of sympathy during the loss of our former judge. I have yet to meet anyone that did not love Chico Harper. And I would suspect that we would never meet anyone that did not love Chico Harper, and he'll be greatly missed. But we have, their family sent us a thank you card, and there's also a thank you note from the chamber director for our willingness to help participate in the work that needs to be done in the painting and the fixing up of the chamber building over there, the Goodnight House. Tomorrow, Wednesday, 10 a.m. tomorrow at Kentucky Downs. There is a ribbon cutting to celebrate the opening of the convention center out at the Downs. So if any of y'all are wanting to attend or can attend, unfortunately, I won't be able to be there. Marty says he's going. I gave him some notes. He pulled those notes out and looked at them. I think he thought I might have written a book. He wanted to see how big it was. I didn't say much, but if y'all...
He said I could say whatever I wanted to say.
Well,
he said, well, no, you can't.
But, well, I backed up on that a little bit.
What time is that,
At
Judge?
10 a.m. at Kentucky Downs.
Thank you.
And it's, if you have not been to see it, that convention center is an impressive facility. It's very nice. Couple other things. July 4th is on a Tuesday this year. It's on the first Tuesday of the month. That's our normal court meeting day. So I propose that we'll move our meeting to Wednesday the 5th because we can't. I think the time frame of our June meeting to July, we're going to need a meeting. Wednesday will probably work better than Monday. Is that good with all of y'all?
That's fine, man.
So what we will have is a special called court meeting on Wednesday, July 5th at 8:30 in the morning. And then the question is, we got an invitation for the court or any county agency, if the jail wants to, or fire department or the sheriff's, whoever wants to participate in the July 4th parade. They're going to do a parade at 10 a.m. on Tuesday the 4th. If y'all want to do something collectively, just get our heads together.
Riding that new truck.
We're having trouble with the microphone.
Yeah, I know you are, yeah.
But yeah, we could do something. All right. And then finally, we discussed as part of the budget discussion, and what's plugged into our budget is the change in the split in occupational tax in the industrial parks with the industrial authority from 80-20 to 70-30. And just to clarify, as Magistrate Chandler has before with some questions that's been asked, this is in no way, shape, form, or fashion any type of tax increase. This is the same amount of tax that's always been collected. It's just 10% difference will be coming to the county and 10% less will be going to the industrial authority.
Do we not have to have I know we just decided to do it, but do we not have to have a motion or anything?
No, we have to even do more than that. We do all of this by an agreement, a signed agreement.
Okay.
And so I have given the county attorney this morning some information on how that agreement possibly needs to be structured for him to review. So yes, it will definitely be on our first meeting in June to approve that agreement. But I shared that information at the industrial board meeting this past Wednesday. It was received, honestly, it was received well. There was no pushback, but yeah, so the county attorney has got the information to get the agreement like it needs to be worded so that we can make this effective July 1, 2023. Myron, you have anything?
No, sir.
Scott?
If you hadn't gone out and voted, we got till 6 p.m. today, right?
Yep. 3 locations.
Here in courthouse, Simpson, and Ag Building.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeffrey?
No report.
Marty?
Got 2 or 3 things. While the counselor is working on that, could he check on the ordinance that I've asked about at Gold City? If there's any possible way of looking at that, or what we need to do.
You need to have a wet-dry election. That's what you're talking about.
Okay.
Basically,
That's what I wanted to know. They've asked me 2 or 3 times.
I'm just saying, we don't do that by ordinance. There has to be an option election. It either needs to be countywide or their precinct. They need to have a local.
So they can vote just in that precinct?
Yes.
They can have it on the ballot just in that precinct?
Correct.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I honestly, Marty, I forgot to get back with you on that, but yes, there needs to be a local option election before that can happen.
And that'll have to be, could it be on the ballot this fall, or what's the time frame of doing that?
Possibly, but they need to get to the county clerk, not today, obviously, or
Right.
tomorrow. They're probably going to be busy, but I'd say first of the week at any rate, just to figure out what they need to do. But I mean, I would not wait. I would seriously go in the next week or two to the county clerk and say, I would like what I need to do to get this on the ballot ASAP.
There was something similar to this done for the Crocker's Winery out there.
They had a local option election.
Okay.
They've
asked me, and I've been trying to get.
Basically, there's special statutes regarding, local wineries being able to sell, and they had to put it on the ballot too.
Okay, all right, thank you. Bobby, on the bridge at Kenny Perry, are we still waiting on permits on that, or what's the status on that?
Completed, they're ready to put out the bid. Talked to all the adjacent property owners, they've agreed to sign an easement and maintenance, or construction and maintenance easement, and the engineering firm is drawing those up, and I'm waiting for that.
Okay, good.
So it should be,
All right,
I'm not sure, hopefully within, I'm sure it'll be next month sometime, that'll be ready to bid.
okay, thank you. And Bob, we talked about the life jacket program out here with Fish and Game, or the wildlife, and it's starting to warm up. We're doing anything with that now? They were gonna do it along on the life jacket program.
Last I knew, we talked about, we've identified where we need it, we just gotta throw our thumbs up and say, let's build it.
Okay.
I thought we had.
I thought we'd already, Bobby was, we talked about that.
Huh?
I believe that was already volunteer,
Well,
I think all we gotta do is get the material and build it.
Yeah, I think we decided it.
I just know
voluntold.
when I drive by there, I'm starting to see, it's warmer and more people out there. So if they're willing to provide the life jackets for that program, then we need to try to get that built. I don't know. What do we need to, we've already.
I think it's all approved. All we gotta do is go pick up the material.
Okay. All right. Well,
Did the judge volunteer the public works department to build that?
Something of that nature.
I think we're waiting on plans and direction where to do it.
Yeah, because Lisa or somebody had the plans of exactly how they wanted the things put together.
I've got the plans.
You got the plans?
I just gotta put stake in the ground. I'll take care of that.
All right. You get with Bobby, get the plan for Bobby. Here's what we need. Let's make it happen.
I'll get the stake in the ground and plans and get it to you.
Is it gonna be a pole barn type structure?
No. It's just like
a wall with a
two
little
posts
roof over it
and some racks that holds life jackets.
I
was gonna say we can build it, we can.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's just like two posts in the ground and
Yeah.
some boards and, it's not, but the Fish and Game are offering, they loan life jackets.
Yeah.
They do this program. And if it saves one life, I thought it would be something good, so.
Yeah. This is just like a rack wall just to hang life jackets on.
And
We voted on it last year.
the only other thing
Out there making materials.
Do it.
Do it.
Give a Bob. Do it.
You're off the hook, Bobby.
I've had people, I've
There we
seen,
go.
We're gonna need some blueprints, so.
He's got it. He's got it.
I've had some people fuss about, and a few about the trees on Gold City Road, about them taking so many of them out, but the number one thing I think the electric company would tell you is that wind blowing trees down is probably why your takes out more wires than anything. So I think it's a real good improvement on Gold City Road, gonna make it a lot safer and a lot better on our electric people.
I'm
Other
not
than that,
hearing any of that if I need to.
Hey, start that back over because
I said I've had people that's complained about the state taking all the trees out on Gold City Road, but I think it's a good thing to get them out of the right of way and away from the electric lines that they're close to, because I don't think we've had but one or two rains this year that hadn't been a storm. And you know, those trees that take those power lines out, so. Other than that, I don't have anything.
All right, Counselor?
Thank you.
As my father used to say, vote early and often.
Gotta watch the often part. Did the sheriff have to leave?
Yes,
All right. Jailer, you have anything? I'm pretty sure the county clerk has got his hands full today, but, so we'll move on. Chief, anything with fire department? Bob, anything else with emergency management?
I just want to tell you guys thanks for what you did earlier. I think that's going to be great too.
Thank you. Bill, anything with maintenance? Bob, anything with the road department? All I need now is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty, second by Jeffrey. All in favor, aye?
All right.